All right, folks. Doing this live stream at a very awkward time because Thomas, Window Beer Reviews, is doing his interview with Steve's Brewing and Gaming. Wraggy, of course, is doing his 2000 subscriber special. Craig, Cat Beer Reviews, will be doing a live stream. And Blue Nose Beer Reviews is hosting a Hot Flicks and Chill. So I don't expect too much interaction on the live side of things. But the great thing about doing these live streams is it's available for playback afterwards. So I'm not going to, focus on the live nor the playback audience too much in either way. And got a couple of comments already. James Rothwell says, "Evening, Peter, you okay? Not doing too bad, thank you. I'd be much better if I didn't have to go to work tomorrow, but can't complain. Hope you're doing well as well." Goldrake, "Evening, young man. Good evening, even younger man. Hope you're doing all right, buddy." And Milo Graham says, "All right, Peter, mate." All right, Milo. Hope you're doing good as well. Hope anyone watching this is doing well. So I'm not going to fanny around too much with this. Going to try and keep it on track. And yeah, thank you all for watching. No matter if you're watching this live or on the playback. And I'll try and keep up to date with comments on this stream. All good, mate. Feel like shit at the moment. To be fair, though, I hope it's nothing too serious, my friend. And just you take care of yourself, buddy. So, the stars sort of aligned to make this stream happen. And once again, massive shout out to Adam, aka Mers Beers, who sourced both of these beers for me. He dropped them off, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. And I gave him a few mystery beers as well. So it was a nice transaction. And yeah, and I thought, you know what? I've got two beers that they're not collaborations like the title and the thumbnail would lead you to believe. Wrong choice of wording, but I'd already made the thumbnail. So, I'm a lazy bastard. And the fact that you've actually got an edited thumbnail is, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so it's a bit of a special one. That's another one for the Clueless Drinker Bingo card. Because we've got two beers that have been inspired or referencing or have referenced a Beertuber here on YouTube. And two legends in their own right. We've got one who's been doing the beer reviews on the channel for quite a few years now. One of the first people that really piqued my interest and got me doing this, and continue to do so. And he's a guy who I've met up with a few times now. He was gracious to let me stay over in his house one evening. Although, unlike Craig, I wasn't sick on the floor. And yeah, just an all round great chap. They both are. And I am going to be blowing smoke up people's arses today, because it's a bit of a celebratory live stream. And the other guy is someone who hasn't been doing it for as long, but has certainly made waves and, dare I say, sort of added a sort of like a freshness, a fresh air to the beer tuber community. Not that it was a stagnant or toxic environment anyway. There have been arseholes that have come and gone, obviously, like with every sort of hobby. But yeah, made such a lot of progress in such a short amount of time. Very well deserved. An absolute gem of a man. And unfortunately, I was planning on going to Nottingham to meet up with him and a few other people, but there will be plenty of opportunities, I'm sure of it. So, those people being Rob from Hopzine, and of course Wraggy from Wraggy's Beers, Wines and Spirits Reviews. I can never remember the full title of Wraggy's channel. So two absolute legends and two very intriguing styles of reviewer, and all in all just true gentlemen, really. So, two beers, and I've actually got my Untapped on the other phone so I can get it ready. So the first beer is the one that was actually sort of... see, I don't think Rob was actually told about this as it was being brewed or conceived. But we've got a new one on me from Neon Raptor, which is a New England Pale Ale, 4.8% ABV. A new one on me is a New England Pale Ale hopped with Sultana, Citra Cryo, and Columbus. Drink this beer when something familiar in life throws a slight curveball. Well, I've had a few curveballs over the past few months, but the less we say about that, the better. 4.6% ABV, 440ml can, and there you go. They've got, even in a small pixel form, they've got Rob's likeness absolutely spot on. And I think even when as they were releasing this, they included a clip of the review where he said a new one on me, which I think is one of his catchphrases he said a few times now. So we've got Neon Raptor, and funny enough, there's a sort of like synchronicity to this, because of course Neon Raptor are located in Nottinghamshire, quite close to the other gentleman, Wraggy, who's also had a beer named after him. Steve's channel, good evening, mate. Good evening to you too. I'm looking forward to watching the playback of yours and Thomas's stream. Had the Hopzine one from the Triangle, and the man himself was out front having a beer, drinking on the job. He's pissed already. Hay fever's messing me around. Feel like shite. Can't drink much beers. That's a shame. That's a shame for a Friday evening. But maybe you should calm down a little bit, young man. So, oh yeah, that's great that you actually saw Rob at the Triangle. Rasco and Disco, or should I say Disco on this occasion, says, evening all, cheers. Cheers to you too, Disco. Hope you're doing well. He has reviewed this beer. No, not this beer, the next beer that I'm going to look at, which sort of had a bit of hype around it. And quite a few people in the community were making orders from the brewery itself. I have to be a little bit careful with my money at the moment, or else I would have probably bought the Wraggy's mix pack, because there's some really interesting beers from the brewery, or interesting sounding beers, which I'm very interested to try. So this will be the first time I've had anything from these, and this is Wraggy's Golden Ale, which is from Lincoln Green, viewed on YouTube, and this beer certainly has been viewed on YouTube by quite a few people. 3.8% ABV. Doesn't give a description on the label itself, so I shall refer to Untapped. So 3.8% ABV. Celebrating Billy Ragg of Wraggy's Beers, Wines and Spirits Reviews on YouTube. Brewed with him in honour of his down-to-earth reviews and positive support of local breweries. Yeah, I'd say Wraggy has probably been, especially recently, one of the biggest champions of the local sort of scene to himself. And, just championing independent breweries full stop, as we all do, or at least try to. I've tried to do my best to support as local as possible. Not done the best of jobs, to be fair, especially because I've not been to what was one of my sort of regular bottle shops in Wigan, which was Northern Beer Temple, which I do need to. I think that's probably going to be the next sort of purchase I'm going to make is going to go to Northern Beer Temple, have a little bit of a conversation with John, lovely guy, and yeah, great bottle shop in Wigan if you're ever in the area. Which Wigan's sort of like become quite an interesting hub for craft beer and real ale now. Although it's always had a really good sort of like real ale cask traditional pub side of things, which is always good. So Rasco and Disco, I'll just say Disco because it's easier, says, "Hey Steve, likewise, we'll watch Thomas's show back later. Hope you enjoyed it, Steve." Yeah, really enjoyed it. It was an honour to do that with him. I felt the same when he asked me to do it. I was a bit nervous. I like the fact, though, that the questions weren't, sort of like, there was no pussyfooting around questions. Not that there were like really, personal things asked, but I like that. I like that. I do tend to open up a little bit too much sometimes, especially if I'm down. But if someone's asking me questions, I'm not one of those people who will shy away from the most personal or even like the most disturbing or disgusting question. Just the way I am. I've probably shared a bit too much about my personal life over the years on this platform and Instagram, which I've now taken a step back from because, man, the amount of time I would waste on Instagram just scrolling, uploading stupid stories. It was once a hub for my creative output, but now it's just become trolley, just banal. So I've taken a bit of a step back from Instagram. Why am I talking about Instagram? I don't know. Yeah, because of oversharing, but yeah, I like the format of being asked questions. Let's see. I shared loads tonight, says Steve. Defo, it was good, and I've had a bit more subs because it's big. Yeah, definitely. Stuff like that, it helps everyone out, really, doesn't it? And that sort of like fits into the sort of theme, if you will, of this live stream. And let's see. Craig has just sent the link in the Facebook group for his stream. And it's one of those things, and I'm treading on toes by doing the stream. Could not have done it at a more awkward time. So if anybody is going to different streams, whatever, you've got a wide range of really good content with really good people tonight. So if you're watching this, I do appreciate it. And yeah, if you're enjoying somebody else's stream or going to, that's completely fine. That's what it's all about. It's not a competition. Do you know what I mean? If I was worried about subscribers, with how little subscribers I have for how long I've been doing this, I would have given this up a hell of a long time ago. So it's never been about like numbers for me. It's about like the quality of the people, and you are all quality people. Told you I'm blowing smoke up people's arses tonight. That's what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, I'd much rather have a smaller group of people who I converse with and watch my stuff than like a massive subscriber count where you get a fraction of those subscribers watching. Yeah, I do. Yeah, exactly. I used to take this really seriously when I was doing my reviews, like editing videos, but now I like just rambling because I've got really no one to ramble about beer with. And even though people in my sort of like personal life and people at work who know that I'm into this and actually sometimes, which does creep me out a little bit, not gonna lie, watches like my content. You sometimes feel like you're just talking at people and they're like rolling their eyes, always talking about beer again. It's like, I don't care about that. Wow, you had a beer that had banana in it. Do you know what I mean? So it's a good sort of outlet for me to talk about beer. I'll probably bounce in and out of them all. We'll nudge you all on at the same time, but these things amuse me. God, could you imagine the the out of context conversations you're about to hear. You're an amazing person. Enjoy it. Likewise, Steve. Really appreciate that. Anyway, see, as soon as people start talking about me in a positive way, sort of like want to take a step back and get on with things. But no, I do genuinely appreciate that. Really enjoy reviews much more than a regular beer review. Exactly. It's like sometimes I say things I probably shouldn't, which do sometimes get picked up by those those rare occasions where I get recognised by brewers. I could still have just died on the spot when I can never remember the guy's name from New Barnes said he really enjoyed the fact that in my New Barnes video said I enjoyed the beer so much I'd like to stick the can up my arse. It is what it is. Still need an ale in town. Definitely, you need an ale anywhere. Breakfast ale, lunch ale, brunch ale, workplace ale, funeral ale, wedding ale, school ale, although you're going to be a bit of a questionable person if you're drinking alcohol in school and you don't have kids there. But anyway, saw your stream first, so Blue Nose could do one for now. LOL. Yeah, I've been nice about people. Harry's the exception. Don't trust him. Do not trust him. I'm joking. Harry's a wonderful chap as well. Anyway, so I think we should get on with the beers because they're starting to get a little bit warm. So, the glassware for tonight, we've got the Newtown Park glass, and we've got the Deal Hop Farm Time and Tide glass. I used to really enjoy this glass shape, but I'm really getting into Tubo glasses, and I want Tiku or Teku glasses to make a comeback, because that to me is like the ultimate glass. But anyway, we're not here to procrastinate about glasses. So, in the Newtown Park, we've got Neon Raptor. And in the Time and Tide, we've got Lincoln Green, which, by the way, I know Wraggy, although finds it amusing, he hasn't taken too kindly to the how it's been immortalised. But I think that's still a nice looking label. And I didn't realise there is actually writing on the bottle. Founded in 2012, we make traditional ales with modern twist, brewed with pride in Nottingham. Billy Ragg is an online beer, wines, and spirits reviewer with a large following on his social media and YouTube platforms. His reviews are positive, down to earth, and highly supportive of local breweries. We felt the best way to thank him for his kind reviews was to brew a beer with him and name it in his honor. I was going to say in its honor. That would be a terrible way to refer to a human being. Let's see. Wraggy's Golden Ale is an easy drinking session ale at 3.8% ABV. I actually like the. I've never been a polo. Is it a polo shirt? I've never been a polo shirt sort of guy, but I do like Lincoln Green's. Obviously, the Lincoln Green with the logo. That's a smart looking shirt. I like Timothy Taylor's merchandise as well. But anyway, that's a completely irrelevant point to make. And there's a nice crown, Seba. Some really interesting beers up on the Lincoln Green website. Geordie's Beer Reviews says, "Hey Peter, happy Friday, buddy. Happy Friday to you too, sir. Although I will have to work tomorrow, so I think these will be the only beers that I'll be cracking open. That being said, I've got that Buxton Brit Hop Pale in the fridge, which I'm really intrigued about. But we're not here to talk about those beers. But good evening to you too, sir. So let's get these open. Now, I've tried to avoid watching reviews of this. Well, both beers. But one thing I do like to do, even though I'm a terrible viewer of beer reviews, it has to be said. But I am looking forward to watching everyone's reviews once I've done my review. I always like having beer reviews on when I'm doing like the text and stuff when I'm editing videos. Dirty Glass. doesn't really matter. So that's a really nice sort of ambery, burnt sunset looking beer. Nice clarity. Didn't pour with much head, but I think that's down to the pour more than anything else. Just reviewed it, but cheers to you and to the chat. Cheers to you all. So we've got that poured. Now let's pour a new one on me. See what we get with this one. Like I said, not watched in depth too many reviews of this. And I'm just glad that I was able to get one of each. So massive thank you to Adam from Mersey Beers for picking these up for me. So, you know, it's not going to be one of those things where we're going to be comparing which one's the better beer. Two completely different, although mind you, golden ale, pale ale, those boundaries can sort of blur sometimes, but, you know, they're two completely different types of beer from two, mind you, real ale, traditional with a bit of a modern twist. But then again, Neon Raptor is, you know, a really sort of contemporary sort of brewery. By the way, their stouts are just magnificent. They really, really are. Their birthday stout was just awesome. It really, really was. So yeah, I won't be doing any sort of comparisons between the two beers. This is just each beer in its own right, and we'll see how they go. But yeah, both looking really nice. This obviously Hazebo, Juice Bomb, Hazebro, turbid, murky, whichever adjective you want to use. So I think we'll start on this one because it's not like I'm going to fight it, but start with this one because the Neon Raptor Pale is a little bit higher ABV. Settled nicely. It's actually a lot darker than I was expecting it to be. Let's see what we get on the nose. Ooh. Really nice, bready, wheaty, pale malt-like aroma coming through, as you would expect. It's got a little bit of a, like a black tea sort of a character as well coming through. Very faint citrus. Almost has like a lime juice sort of aroma. But to be honest, it's more bready, biscuity. There's a sweetness from those malts coming through. Slightly sort of like marmalade-y, almost. Interesting. Do you know what? I've not really drank too much stuff like this in recent months. And it's just good to go back to these sorts of beers and these breweries. I mean, there's a really good brewery, quite local, the Southport Brewery, which does an absolutely amazing mild. And then you've got, what other breweries do we have quite local? I mean, the most local brewery to me is Neil Claybrow. Who, I mean, if Neil's watching this, he wants to do a collaboration or brew a beer in my honour, he's more than welcome to do so. Just saying, you know, Blood Orange Triple IPA, or, you know, Liebkuchen Rauchbier Doppelbock. You know, it's not like I've thought about what beers I would brew or like to have brewed or anything like that, of course. But yeah, I mean, well, none of that must actually feel like to have your something about you immortalised in a beer. I know Disco, who is probably watching a much better stream than this at the moment, had a beer with his namesake. But yeah, must be a good feeling. Anyway, so okay, now that, like Wraggy says, now the air's got into the glass, I'm getting a little bit more of that gentle hoppiness. It's almost got like a sticky not resiny, but something similar to like a sticky resininess. Anyway, I've waffled on way too long. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, all. Straight away, first thing I notice, quite a pronounced bitterness right from the start of the beer. There's a certain spiciness there, sort of like almost like a rye bread character coming through. It's prickly on the tongue. It's got a tang to it. Nice light body, crisp, precise. If that's a word you can use, probably not. Again, just like that rye-like spiciness that I'm getting. Spready, but crisp at the same time. There is like a slight grapefruit bitterness that comes into play on the back end. I mean, with like lower ABV golden ales, you know, you're not going to be getting like big, like overly bold flavors, you know, because they're just designed to be, you know, have a few pints while you're at the pub. Whenever I drink beers like this, it always takes me back to trips to the Lake District and going to country pubs. And I don't know what it is. It reminds me of being drinking in picturesque areas. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm drinking this and I'm transporting myself to the Lake District at the tail end of summer, where it's nice and warm in the day, not too warm like it has been, which I've not enjoyed, but it's a little bit cooler in the evening. You know, you're walking through the windy hill like streets of Windermere. You've just been to the pub, you've had a few beers, and then you're going to get yourself a nice, just like fish and chip supper. And this would absolutely complement that perfectly. This with a chippy tea. And you've got like the street lights, you've got the lights in the distance reflecting on the lake and the hills, and you know your like apartment that you've rented or holiday cottage or whatever, you've got a picturesque view. This is what these beers sort of remind me of, and I don't know why. Doesn't matter which part of the country the brewery itself is from. I'm just always transported to like days out or long weekends in the Lake District. It's amazing how you attach those sorts of like memories to something that's really got nothing to do with that memory. I won't get too fucking William Wordsworth, you know, pondering about a walk and things like that, but yeah, this just reminds you of like a country pub. You've got your people you're with, you've got the locals who, well, not all the locals in the Lake District or Cumbria, because not to be disrespectful to people of Cumbria, but you don't half get some arses. like some really pompous arses. But anyway, although there's some really genuinely rough areas, like everywhere in Cumbria. It's weird. There's like, I don't know. I don't want to throw shade on that part of the country because it's one of my favourite places to ever go to. And I really do need to just treat myself to a little sort of like weekend away. I might do that next year. As soon as I get my holidays for the year, get that booked. Or, use one of my rotated weekends and then book the Friday off and then the Monday, then just, have a nice time, get train to the lakes. Yeah. It's just one of those beers. It's simple. It's well brewed. It's one of those ones that is obviously designed to be enjoyed with good company. Well, most beer, beer itself, fundamentally, it's very community driven, isn't it? It's the social lubricant, as they say. But this is one of those ones where you can happily have 3 pints at lunchtime. There's no overtly like big flavors there. It's a beer that everyone can enjoy and appreciate. And it sounded like I'm almost dissing it because it's not a big flavoursome beer. I know it's not going to be. I wasn't expecting it to be. And I don't think you should. But it's just one of those just enjoyable beers that you don't have to think about. You could just sit back and enjoy. And it's done really well. Because the one thing I will say, and it sort of put me off picking up real ale for a while, was I was getting bored of just really bland, like English pale ales and golden ales and blonde ales, and they all just sort of meddled into one generic sort of one-dimensional flavour. But this isn't doing that. This is a genuinely well brewed, lower ABV golden ale. And that slight grapefruit bitterness on the back end adds that almost sort of like modern flair that, the brewery prides itself on. I mean, just like on the nose, I'm still getting a slight black tea character, and I'm really enjoying that. It's a nice sort of black, slightly herbal flavour. Let's see. Got a few comments. Evening just got in from Friday Shop. Everyone is streaming tonight. What was the verdict? Well, on this, Adam, which again, thank you for putting me off the beers. Everyone, show appreciation for Adam. God, could you imagine if I was one of those streamers? You got loads of beers now, thanks to my 2 brews. Oh, I've got loads of beers. Oh, what did you brew? What have you got on, Steve? You're going to be missing out on the cask in Nottingham. Yes, that is one thing that I would really enjoy to see what this will be like on cask. I think Craig did say that he enjoyed it a little bit more on cask, if I remember correctly. I can't remember because I'm an idiot. And we've got Chris _ evening. Finally caught a live stream. Always seem to miss them. You're not missing much, but do appreciate you stopping by, and I hope you're enjoying it. And thank you for watching the playbacks of the other streams. That's nice. That's really nice. It's simple. It's accessible. It's a beer that you can share with others. And it's sort of like, it's going to sound terrible because I've just called it a simple beer, and it's sort of, but I say this, to me, this is what like Wraggy is about. I'm not calling him a simpleton or anything like that. Far from it. But this is what it's about. Wraggy can be enjoyed by everyone. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to be massively into beer. If you just want to watch someone who's personable, just wants to have conversations, talks about everything, doesn't matter who you are, you know, you can have a good conversation with him. And I think this sort of beer is perfect. And I would be very happy if someone had brewed a beer like this in my name. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. It's just enjoying beer, conversation, community. And I think with beers like this, everyone could enjoy it. Everyone could enjoy it. Lovely stuff. Really, really nice. So we're off to a good start. So now we go on to the sort of like other end of the spectrum. And once again, we're having a look at Neon Raptor's new one on me, brewed in honour of Rob from Hopzine. Again, another legend in his own right. And we were having a conversation offline, and we were talking about, well, as you can, we've got the wall of smut here, showing his appreciation for some of the stars and starlets from yesteryear. Back when, well, mind you, adult films, I was artistic and, God, why are we talking about adult films? We're not going to carry on that conversation. We're just going to move swiftly on to the beer. But yeah, lovely looking beer. Let's see what we get on the nose. And then just like completely, no, not even going to make any comparisons because that's not what it's about. The two different, completely different styles of beers from two completely different breweries, although from pretty much the same part of the country. Like I said, it's that synchronicity. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Oh, wow. Right off the bat, I'm getting almost like a green bell pepper sort of character with this. Citrus. There's a slight tropical element to it, almost like a mango chutney, like a spicy mango chutney. Because yeah, there's almost like a bell pepper, paprika. What does that? That reminds you of something that I've probably either eaten or drank recently. Yeah, that's an intriguing nose. There's a dankness there. Interesting. Could that be the Sultana hop, which is adding that sort of like edge to it? Citra and Columbus. You're getting that. You're getting those. You can identify those hops. That Columbus almost adding that sort of like slight West Coast resiny American hop character. But there's just a twang to this, which I'm not too familiar with the Sultana hop. So I don't know what sort of flavours that's supposed to impart in terms of flavour and aroma. I mean, obviously, Sultana is a dried out. What fruit is a Sultana? My God, how fucking stupid can you be? So maybe it adds sort of like is there supposed to be a berry character coming from Sultana? Yeah, there's almost like a fruitcake aroma coming from this, which is very odd to come from, pale ale. Grape. Thank you, James. if there's ever a person I can rely on to correct my stupidity while streaming, it's James, and I do very much appreciate that, because that would have done my fucking tits in, and I would have kept harking back to it, trying to figure out what I was talking about. Yeah, just there's a real. I don't know if anybody else has got this when they've been drinking this or reviewing it, but I'm getting a bell pepper. Already, just off the nose, I'm thinking of what I'd pair this with food-wise. We've got the Wraggy's Golden Ale, good traditional pub grub, or fish and chips. This, just off the nose, I'm thinking I really want a chili con carne right now. I'm back, for fuck's sake, feel like shit still. Take some antihistamines, is that what they are? Hay fever. I've not suffered from it this year, but I only started suffering from hay fever about 4 years ago. I'd never, up until then, ever got hay fever. But then just all of a sudden, just feel like shit. But this year I've not had it. It's weird. It's weird how the body works. I thought the Neon Raptor was the best pale I've had in a long time. Oh, interesting. Well, I think I should definitely get this sipped. Cheers, folks. Yeah, just like the nose, there's like a bit of a kick to this. Sure, what this is reminding me of? And a bit of an exclusive, but Saturday Night Slice makes its return tomorrow. Terrible video though. Completely out of practice about talking about beer. Well, always out of practice talking about beer. But yeah, talking about pizza. If you want to review of a pizza where I do not describe the pizza at all properly, then look out for the return of Saturday Night Slice. This is reminding me. It's going to sound so fucking weird, but this is reminding me of the salami that was on the pizza, because it was a spicy one. But it wasn't really a spicy pizza. But yeah. So that's what it's all about. People looking out for each other. Yeah, there's a bell pepper like kick to this. And it has that slight, like, what am I talking about? I can't get it out into words without it sound like, what the fuck are you talking about? Which I think is something that's said a hell of a lot when people watch my beer reviews, but it's got a little bit of that paprika character you get from something like a chorizo. There's a really nice sort of like mellow citrusiness to it. Definitely a resiny, subtly dank edge, which I think is coming mainly from the Chinook hops. There's a slight earthiness. There's a nice sort of bright, biscuity malt character coming through. A little bit of a bolder mouthfeel. Satisfying mouthfeel. And I don't know, it's a bit dry on the back end. And I don't know if that's just me, because obviously the Sultana is a dried grape. And I'm thinking maybe there's a grape like character, or not brute, but dry on the back end, like a muskiness to it. It's a musky pale ale. And just like the Wraggy's Golden Ale, there's something a little bit different about it. Because this could have just been yet another hazy New England style pale ale, which tastes like this brewery's pale ale, and this brewery's pale ale, and that brewery's pale ale, and that brewery's pale ale. I do tend recently, even though it's still probably the most common style of pale ale and IPA that I buy, I do tend to get a little bit bored of like big, bold, hoppy, sweet New England IPAs. When I was drinking the bottles here, when I drank the Hoptimism from Sierra Nevada, revisited the Pale Ale from Sierra Nevada, and then drank the Barrel Aged Torpedo. I want to do something with that bottle. I turn that into a candlestick, but I need to think of how to sort of like preserve the label so it doesn't. Could I gloss that? Do you think? Just so the label itself doesn't get all tatty, or do you think that might look good with a little bit of wear on it and like wax? Anyway, what the fuck is he talking about? It was just good to have these like old school, like West Coast flavors, and I think for some reason, UK breweries, when they attempt like a West Coast, it just tastes like a IPA. Do you know what I mean? I think we've become so used to drinking hazy New England, Vermont, whatever style IPAs and pale ales, and I think brewers have become so used to brewing those that they forgot how to like brew like a Stone like new West Coast IPA when Stone were good, and when there was an interest video of Greg Koch taking the piss out of breweries that were doing hard seltzers. What have Stone made? Just like every other brewery, because it's money making. If you're brewing and you're doing it for the art and the love, you've either got a lot of money to be able to lose at a brewery, or you're full of shit, because at the end of the day, you have a product to sell to make profit, not just to make money and make yourself richer, which is something you should be doing and aiming for when you've got a business, but also to be able to maintain that business. So I'm not going to be too harsh on Greg Koch for that, although slightly hypocritical, but we're all hypocrites at some point. It's just a shame we don't get any interest in Stone beers imported to the UK anymore. I mean, Stone Berlin, do they still brew? Are they still? I know they had that beautiful premises in Berlin, which then I've got to say, when Brewdog took that over and obviously added that Brewdog aesthetic to it, completely destroyed any charm that place had. It's still a beautiful looking location, and I'd still definitely love to go there. I definitely need to go to Berlin next year at some point. That's like a dream for me. But yeah, so to have a beer like this, back to the point, to have a beer like this, which is not just another sweet, hazy pale ale or IPA, you tend to sort of like be a little bit more wowed. I mean, don't get me wrong, when you've got a nice New England style pale ale or IPA and it's just like pure smoothie fruit juice, it's a wonderful drinking experience. But I like it when there's something a little bit different. And I don't know, could could that be mainly all down to the use of Sultana hops? I don't think I've ever had a beer with Sultana hops. I might have had a beer before it was named Sultana, when you get like that HBC 475-AB pi symbol 0.65 BBC cryo whatever he/him/spatula. You know, those sort of like hops before they've got a name. So I might well have had like I don't know, but how new is Sultana? Has Sultana been around a lot? See, I don't know those sides of things, but all I'm saying is there's a spiciness to this beer. There's a twang. It's like it's seasoned. When I say spicy, I don't mean hot. I just mean like spiced. You know, I got a rye bread like character from that golden ale, and I'm getting a slightly piquant. Just say piquant. You know, I know that's not the proper spelling, but I'm getting like a piquant sort of character, sort of like It's gonna sound so weird, but this is reminding me of like cured spicy meat, like a German sort of like salami sausage, or like a kielbasa or whatever. There's this weird character to this pale ale, which I've not really had. It's not too sweet. It's definitely got a savoury, dank edge to it. Lovely body though. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I think Rob would be very happy with this beer. I haven't even watched Rob's review of this beer. I think I've seen bits and bats of Wraggy reviewing the. I think because Wraggy's all obviously reviewed like the cask version of the beer, as has Craig. But I'm looking forward to revisit, like watching other people's reviews of these two beers, because obviously I want to see both Rob and Wraggy get the the appreciation and the smoke blown up the arse that they deserve. But because these are genuinely two very intriguing takes on their sort of like respective styles. And of course, in this day and age, if you were to compare the two, we all know for a fact that this would be the one that people would probably gravitate towards too. But then again, this sort of beer's, even though beer's tailored for everyone at the end of the day, but I think that being said, a lot more of the traditional sort of ale drinkers would probably, say that this is their, sort of go-to. So it's just weird. It's just a strange. I don't know. I can't put into words. I can't articulate what I'm trying to say. They're just two very intriguing takes on already oversaturated and I'm just going to end that sentence there because I'm just sounding like a proper pillock. Let's see. Let's have a look. Geordie's jumped off to do a quick review. What are you drinking, Geordie? What's everyone drinking? Let's see. I just cracked a 12% sticky toffee pudding quad without realising it was a 12% quad. Oops. Oh, well, enjoy. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed that, Disco. That sounds lovely. See, I like Belgian beers when they do interesting things like that to them. Although something like a quad, I'm probably a little bit more partial to, even though I'm not the biggest sort of like Belgian beer fan. But yeah, that sounds wonderful. Jump off to do a new review. Yeah, no problem, kiddo. I could do with some haze right now. Oh, completely different type of haze there, Goldrake. The denim beer from Salt is good. I nearly picked that up. I was in Tesco's the other day, I don't know why I didn't. There were a few beers of the new beers that I just didn't pick up. I was a little bit miffed that most of the ones that I did actually want, they didn't have the individual cans. They just had the 4-packs. Although I was very tempted to get myself a 4-pack of Lost Cosmonauts because I do really like that. But yeah, I've got the Parma Violet Brewdog beer awaiting for me, which with trepidation, because after that Tony's chocolate white stout that they did, fucking hell, what a misstep that was. Just that was an awful beer. Brewdog's sort of like latest offerings just do not appeal to me at all. That I'm not being funny, but that OG Haze whatever guava, when I got that in the Brewdog and Friends subscription box, my god, I had like half of one of the cans and then just poured the other can away because it was just not good, not good at all. But yeah, I slightly intrigued. I know it's probably been around for a while now in the 440s, but Elvis juice in a 440 can. For some reason, that really intrigued me, even though it's probably been in that format for a good while now. But yeah, Brewdog's latest offerings, I'm just like, come on. But we're not here to throw shade on other breweries. I'm not that sort of beer tuber. Let's see. But yeah, the denim beer from Salt, do want to try that. Smoky peppers, taste kinda. Is that what you mean? Something like that. Yeah, sort of like not necessarily chipotle, but there was a smokiness coming from the pepper, and that sort of like, that vegetative zingy bite you get from like a green pepper. Let's see. Chris says, feel a sausage stout would work better than a pale sausage stout. I'll be up for any sort of meat beer. That sounds good to me. Watch out, terrible music pun in the centre of my review of the Golden Ale, says Disco. Well, I'm definitely have to check that out now, Disco, because as much as I roll my eyes at puns, sometimes I'm really in the mood for a really bad pun. Thomas, Window Beer Review, says, hi everyone. Good evening, Thomas. Hope you enjoyed your live stream with Steve. People saying hello. I'm having a can of Neon Raptor, a new one on me, says Hopzine. I was going to make a grand sort of like, it's Rob from Hopzine, but no. You've already had well too much smoke blown up your arse in this review, Rob. But what did I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to actually watch your review of it. But good evening, Rob, and it's an intriguing little number. I'm not sure how much you've seen of my review so far, but it's not your sort of standard pale ale. It's a new one on me. This one, making a shitty joke about a beer name there, Peter. Good job. No beer tonight. Second trip to New Bunderbus tomorrow. Oh, nice. I still need to make that trip. I'm really intrigued specifically about the that spiced chai nitro porter and the black lager with they did with Daya. See, no, I can't even really justify having a cheeky sort of like trip out. Although I will be in Liverpool with Adam and Harry on the 9th of October. So I'll probably, because I imagine all venues will be at least pouring the Bunderbust beers now, won't they? But yeah, I just want those okra fries. Or okra fries. Not sure it's properly pronounced. No beer today for me, unfortunately. I should be in the pub 7 pints in now. I know. Goldrake, hay fever's a bitch. Let's see, 12% quad from Drygate in Glasgow. Oh, nice. See, the only things from Drygate that I've seen are the sort of very basic offerings. So I'd be interested to actually look a bit deeper into the range from Drygate. Oh, excuse me. I didn't check the quad or 12%. It's amazing. Boozy, toffee raisins. I can taste the aroma. Wish I'd done it as a review. So much to taste. Well, you just have to buy another can. Which, yeah, you should definitely buy another can. And, oh, Man Slag, Blue Nice Beer Review says, hey, sweetie. Hopzine, the man on the can. Exactly, says Disco. We're all on Craig's for afters, honey. I'll probably join. Can't really have too many more because, work tomorrow and I don't want to shit myself in the middle of a call centre. Geordie saying, cheers to Harry. I've got loads of flavour. It's good. Yeah, it has. It's a really robust pale ale. And there's flavours in there, Rob, that you don't get with a lot of pale ales that are similar. So I don't know. It could just be me because I don't know what Sultana hop is like, but I think there's a lot of that shining through just because of how sort of not strange but unfamiliar it is. It's really intriguing pale ale. It really, really is. In need of a good night's sleep now. Night, everyone, says Goldrake. Good night. I hope you feel better tomorrow. I hope you manage to get some sleep because there's nothing worse than when you've got like a cold or hay fever's kicking in and you're trying to get to sleep. But thank you for stopping by and I hope you feel better tomorrow, my friend. Yeah, I'm getting like that black tea sort of character now again with this. Those slight spicy notes are still there. Nice breadiness. I do definitely think, as fine as it is in the bottle, this on keg, not keg, cask. God, look at me. I used to fucking say, oh, I don't like cask. It makes me all gassy. And why do I have to be cask and sparklers? I don't want a sparkler. But, those beers you can just tell that the drinking experience will be just taken to that next level if it was on cask. Sounds like a cloud water beer. Shit myself in a call centre. There you go. So, Paul, I know you're watching. Put me on a can, Paul. I'll eat vegan cheese. I'll listen to like Zen music. Let's do this, Paul. I know you're watching, Paul. You're always watching. But yeah, that would actually be a good name for a beer. Shit myself in a call centre. What beer would that be? Would we have that as like a murky rye IPA? Or like a murky red IPA? The red. Red, shitting yourself. Not a good image springing to mind there. Shoulda. But yeah, if I were doing individual reviews of these beers, I would say each one is definitely worth your time. Yeah, both beers. As I said, there's no comparisons in this. I'm not going to say, well, out of the two, I prefer this beer. But yeah, two Nottingham-based breweries. Two beers immortalising legends within the Beertuber community. Two completely different styles and sort of like ways of brewing. which is just the same as saying two different styles. But yeah, both of them really interesting. And I know both have been out for a little bit now, but I think you can still purchase both beers. Um, and if you see both beers, pick them up. I could definitely say that Neon Raptor is a fine brewery, and Lincoln Green. I definitely want to try more from these guys. I'm really intrigued by that sort of like Bailey's inspired pale ale that they've done, and the butterscotch ale, and they're bitter because come on. I think I'm most excited about trying their bitter, to be honest. That reminds me, not done a Until the Bitter End video for a while. Need to pick up some more bitters, lads. Need to pick up some more. I can't do it with bottle cap. Doesn't have the same effect as Seaside Mart. That another brewery, Cernus Abbey, whatever it's called, have done a Rauch beer. So I might do some cheeky little real ale orders actually, because there's been a few breweries who I've wanted to try within that sort of things. Take a break from like the hype stuff, the juice, the triple fruited sours and the imperial stouts and stuff like that. But yeah, Lincoln Green. I may be doing a little bit of an order from these at some point. But then again, in the sort of like the nature and essence of Wraggy, that can be taken well out of context. Maybe I should see what sort of real ale offerings I can get a bit locally and give them a fair shot. Because like I said, Southport Brewery, I've enjoyed their stuff. Prospect, outstandish. They've done some good stuff. They're mild. Well, Southport Brewery's mild is really nice. I think that was the one they did to commemorate a train driver. I can't remember. Nutty Slack from Prospect, which I think I picked up a bottle for Dean a few years ago. That's a good mild. What other breweries? This is where I need Adam to kick me up the arse and actually tell me what breweries are local to me, which are more local to me than they are to him. But yeah, it's just nice to go back to these sorts of beers because I've said it plenty of times before. It's stuff like this that sort of like bridge the gap between the macro lagers that I was drinking every weekend with friends, then trying stuff on cask and these sorts of big bottles, the 4 for £7 sort of deals in the supermarkets, to then trying this more craftier side of things. So beers like this have played a pivotal role, really, in my sort of journey of drinking alcohol, if that's a journey that should be of note and should be promoted. But yeah, both damn fine beers, and yeah, there's plenty of reviews up on YouTube now, I'm sure. Let's see. Georgia would buy it. My collaboration with Cloudwater. It's got to be definitely a brown ale. There we go. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's get that sorted. I mean, I'd happily do it with Runaway. I could see the can photo close up of a broken Cloudwater glass with your builder's bum in the background, slightly out of focus. Exactly. Paul can take the photo in a Manchester hotel room. What happens before and after that photo, we will never discuss. Hi, Clueless. You always remind me of Supersonic or a Super Saiyan. That's from CVCC. Yeah, these golden locks. I'll take that. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a good Super Saiyan. Is that Dragon Ball Z, or is that completely different, sort of like manga or anime? I don't know, but I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Hey, Kinky Beauty, says Thomas. Good evening. You don't know? You sure? You sure know how to make a girl blush, Thomas? Very nice. Cuvée time. I'm joking. I don't want to ruin both beers. Although that being said, I think Cuvée would be quite interesting, but we're not going to do that. It's Dragon Ball Z. There we go. See, I was never a fan of Dragon Ball Z. Mind you, I've never been like a massive sort of like anime person. Although, you know, the Studio Ghibli films, especially Grave of the Fireflies. Jesus Christ, what a powerful film that is. That's that one film where, you know, you'd get that stereotype. Why are you watching a cartoon? Cartoons are for children. Have you seen Watership Down, motherfucker? But yeah, Grave of the Fireflies. Jesus Christ, that film made me cry. Mind you, I cried a bit at Spirited Away. I'm not too ashamed to admit that. You're not a fan of Dragon Balls? I watch Dragon Ball Z and Cartoon Network, says CVCC. See, now, I enjoyed the original Dragon Ball series just because of the art style. You know, before, like, obviously, animation techniques improved and developed, because I loved that sort of, like, watercolor-like background with the, you know, that sort of, like old school style animation. Plus, quite politically incorrect sometimes was Dragon Ball. But I like the charm of Dragon Ball, whereas like the sort of like sleek and, you know, modernized sort of animation style and techniques that were of course implemented in things like Dragon Ball Z. Not the biggest fan of. You know, Ghost in a Shell, before they absolutely destroyed it with like Ghost in a Shell 2.0, where they had like 3D animations. So it's like, why do that? You don't need to do it, because it's a beautiful piece of animation anyway. Akira, one of my all-time favorites. I love Akira. Just the metropolis and how it's like the use of how they portrayed like neon lights and stuff like that. I mean, God, Akira. I think they've recently re-released that on like Blu-ray, so I need to pick that up because that's a wonderful, wonderful film. Great soundtrack as well. But yeah, I'm not too big into like the anime series. Although I am quite intrigued to give Clash of the Titan. Is it Clash of the Titans a go? I like those like sort of like over the top gory sort of animes. Not a big fan of hentai. It's just a bit too strange for me, even for my standards. But yeah, even like something like the Moomins, which I know isn't Japanese. I think is it Norwegian, or is Moomins? Was that written by a Swedish woman or a Norwegian woman? But that's got that sort of like old school, almost anime like feel to it, with again those painted backgrounds and the hand drawn and hand painted sort of characters and animation. But yeah. But anime was something that, because I don't know how it was for other people in different countries, but especially where I was brought up, anybody who was like into computer games or reading comics or into anime and stuff like that, they get like sort of like not segregated because that's completely different thing altogether, but they get like teased and I don't know, and I sort of like avoided that. But then when I went to college, it sort of opened me up a bit more. Not rectally, like some people's college experience, but in terms of like sort of like what a time to join the stream when I say not rectally. But yeah, I started to be a little bit more open to different sort of mediums and art forms and stuff like that. And then I read The Watchmen for the first time, and I thought this is wonderful. Why was I not reading this when I was like a teen, like in high school or even before that? You sort of grow up sort of like, oh, I don't want to be seen as a nerd or a geek. And it's like, fuck it. You like what you like. Don't try and sort of like fit in with the cool kids. It's got to sound like fucking Steve Buscemi in that clip, don't I? Hello, fellow children. But we've got a few more comments. Let's see. Let's. Who let this beautiful human above in? Says Disco. I meant Thomas Open, but sure, series is beautiful too. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful people, as Marilyn Manson once sung about. Fuck me, the 12% quad is kicking in. Shut up, Disco. No, carry on talking. I want that to proper kick in, Disco. It's like films now. It's too polished and fake looking, like 3D on, as opposed to animatronics. Yeah, see, that's why, and it's got to be a bit controversial. Ooh. But that's why the Marvel films just trash. There's no artistry in the Marvel films. I know the big mega budget blockbusters, but it's just like really minimal built sets and then just green screens. And it's like, fucking out, before we would build sets. I mean, to me, right, what Ridley Scott built with his team of artists and carpenters and set designers, Blade Runner. Just look at how beautiful Blade Runner is, the original Blade Runner. Yeah, this is where blood, sweat, and tears will be put into these sets, to make it look like it was outside, and it did feel like it was outside in the sort of like streets and the markets. But now it's just like watching the behind the scenes stuff of like the Marvel and DC films, and it's just, what are you doing? You've got a floor with some props, and then everything else is just a green screen. And it's one of those things you can just there's no different sort of styles between like each like Marvel property on cinema. So you could essentially just put it all together and say it could just be literally the same film. And that's what I don't like about those sorts of films. Although Black Widow, where Scarlett Johansson's character is getting interrogated and he's tied to a chair, probably enjoyed that scene a little bit too much, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, I completely get you on that one. Don't get me wrong. 3D and computer-generated effects have been used brilliantly in cinema as well to give us experiences that we wouldn't be able to have with practical effects. But yeah, it's just so sanitized, and I used to like when films would take years to make. There was a BBC Sounds documentary about it. Like, see, one of the sort of exceptions would be someone like Christopher Nolan. Some of the things that are built for one scene in some of his films are just, amazing. He's one of the few sort of like modern, mega mainstream directors who still imparts artistry into his films. Sort of like what's his face, Curon, who did what films has he done? Children of Men. I watched that film for the first time in a long time a few months ago. Just fucking blown away by it. It was just a wonderfully made film. Again, of course, there'll be bits and bats where stuff's superimposed. I mean, even Roma that he made, a lot of that is sort of like computer generated, but it's done in such a way where you can't pick up on it. And Alexander Curon, is that what he's called? I can't remember. Terrible with names. But yeah, even like the Star Wars films, modern Star Wars films are fucking shit. They're just shit. They don't have any of the charm of the sort of like original trilogy, even the prequel trilogy. It's just I don't know. Obviously, those films when they were made with what? Well, a lot of them were made with much like severe limitations of what other more established filmmakers had at the time, and the charm lies in the sort of practical effects. But we even saw George Lucas fuck up his original series of films by adding these weird and unnecessary aspects. I mean, obviously, when he did the sort of remastered trilogy, although technology had come a long way since he initially made those films, we've come a hell of a long way since he had these cutting edge tools at his disposal. Although that being said, I've said that, I do still really want to watch The Mandalorian because the bounty hunter side of Star Wars is something that's always fascinated me, especially if you've ever played Shadows of the Empire, which is I think it is a canon Star Wars story with. Is the character called Dash Rendar? He's supposed to be like a rival of Han Solo or something like that, and he goes face to face with IG-88, who you see in one of the original trilogies when the bounty hunters are all being briefed about. So I can't remember too much about that. But also you fight Boba Fett. But yeah, that side of things I do really enjoy. But yeah, I watched Star Wars, the first of the more recent Star Wars, and there's so many new Star Wars shows and films and stuff being released now, and it's just like you've completely taken away every sense of imagination and charm that those original properties had, and you've just sanitized it down to this boring mainstream nonsense. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's still hard work that goes into films. There are still many talented people. But as technology obviously advances, it makes it easier. So, I don't know. That was quite a long-winded rant. But thanks, Disco. Lecker Thomas. Thomas is definitely lecker. Oh, Thomas has got a few things to say, I think, about my rant there. Evening, gentlemen. What have I missed? Says Cheshire Homebrew. We have reviewed Wraggy's Golden Ale and Neon Raptor's A New One on Me. Obviously, both in tribute to fellow Beertubers Wraggy and Rob from Hopzine. Good evening, by the way. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a nice Friday evening. Not rectally. Well, that cracked me up. Not rectally. See, I said that earlier. I need to be very careful with what I say on these live streams. The Marvel movies are about the connections and the characters, says Thomas. Wraggy, the legend himself, Evening Peter. Lots of live Beertubers tonight, definitely. Who needs TV when you've got YouTube? I still need to. I was jumping in and out of your live stream earlier today, so I'm looking forward to actually watching it from start to finish on the playback, and I'm looking forward to watching that Neon Raptor review that you're doing. And I hope you've enjoyed your celebrations. Massively, massively deserved set on the 2000. Hope you're doing well. And maybe you'll pop on some streams a little bit later tonight, or is that a yellow and red card territory? Having said that, Ridley Scott is amazing to me, and I adored what he did with Prometheus and Covenant. Where did all of what you said? Where he did all of you said, but with CG and green screen. So I agree and disagree with you. Yeah, I'm sure some of my sort of rantings are, based on this romanticism of, sort of like old school styles of filmmaking. That's not to say that I've not had good, mainstream cinema experiences. But yeah, I don't know. It's just because these films are almost, well, obviously that's Hollywood, isn't it? It's churning out. It's like easily consumable media. But I think because I've never really been too much of like a Marvel or a DC or Image Comics sort of, or a comics person. I never really grew up like reading, those sorts of things. So I think that also plays a part. But I really enjoyed the film adaptation of The Watchmen. I thought that was good because it was an interesting, because The Watchmen itself, obviously it's a comic, it's a Marvel comic. There are different characters in there with superpowers. It's fantastical, but there's like, it wasn't just about that. It was in that sort of universe, but there's all these sort of like personal conflicts, and like I said, it's about personalities and things like that. I mean, I really enjoyed the Punisher films. I think Punisher's probably my favorite comic book property, just because there's something there that you can almost relate to, because he's just a normal guy who goes through, the worst thing you could possibly go through, and he's so filled with rage and vengeance. He's just a guy at the end of the day. I enjoyed the Nolan Batman films. I liked how dark they were. So it might come across like I'm really against those sorts of films, but I do really enjoy them. I could say the same thing about modern James Bond films, but then again, if you look at the older James Bond films, they're kitsch, they're cheesy, they're quirky. They're definitely, each film is of its time. And I'm just going to say it, Living Daylights is the best James Bond film. Timothy Dalton was the best James Bond. Shoot me. Shoot me with a Stradivarius. Christ, we need to talk about movies at some point because I do like Nolan, but also think some of the stuff is so overrated. I can agree with you on that, for some things. And I will agree, Inception was definitely 32 minutes long. And yeah, I never got the sort of like, I enjoyed Inception, but there was stuff in there I'm like, oh, come on. Tenet was really good. Tenet was I really, really enjoyed that. I still need to go back to like his really early films as well. I think I watched Memento once, but that was a hell of a long time ago, as some fans would like to think it is. And Star Wars has always been shite in a good way. A New Hope is a horrible edited and directed fantasy film That is loved because of special effects. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is the new original Star Wars trilogy. And Timothy Dalton. Yeah, I love Timothy Dalton. His portrayal of James Bond. License to Kill. Yeah, where they tried to make Bond a little bit edgier by making it a bit more adult. Didn't really work. Oh wow, James Bond said bastard. Although License to Kill, that's a good theme tune. Living Daylights, again, it's probably my favourite James Bond theme. But I am actually quite excited for the new James Bond. We won't get into the discussion about James Bond now being a woman, because I couldn't give two flying fucks, to be honest. If they want to do that, they can do that. Although I think it'd make more sense to make a sort of like, not a spin-off, but well, mind you, it would, a spin-off's a spin-off of like a female secret agent attached to that same world. Wouldn't that make more sense? But then again, yeah, I kind of like that idea of James Bond, but it's a woman. So you can play. See, that's the thing that I know they won't do. They won't handle it well. They won't sort of like play a sleight of hand with it. It'll just be one-dimensional. Play it off as if, yeah, no one makes. Maybe someone will make an offhand comment in the script and stuff like that. But you could play around really well with the theme of James Bond actually being a woman. But we know they won't do it. Okay. Brother, this was a lovely end to my evening, brother. Well, thank you for joining me, and we do definitely need to have a discussion about film, because I love talking about beer, but I also love talking about films, and I think that'd be a good little concept, that if we did a little bit of a live stream or just a general conversation. I think we'd enjoy that, and I'm going to put that thumbnail in my empty Coca-Cola can. I'm in to bed because I got a mate coming over tomorrow for streams and beers. Love you, mate. Also, Rachel Wise is best when asked. It's best when asked if she will be on James Bond. Don't alter existing characters for women. Create new, interesting, evening characters for us. And she was right. She definitely is. It's just pandering, and it's not going to go down well, because you could do so much more sincere things than just changing the identity of a pre-established character. But even if they did it, what harm is it doing, really? But at the same time, it's just like, it hurts the cause, if that makes sense. But yeah. I mean, I personally think we should have had Idris Elba as the new James Bond. I think he'd be fucking amazing as James Bond. But hey ho, it is what it is. But thank you for joining, Thomas, and I hope you have a lovely day tomorrow. And I think I'm going to cut this stream off here. I might. Shit, wait, someone made a great comment earlier this week. Okay. Let's see this comment. And then I'll end the stream. I might jump on to Craig's stream in a little bit. Shoot a quick review and then jump on. Although I can't be on for too long because I'm in work tomorrow. But mind you, I did drink a few beers last night as well and didn't feel too bad. Judi Dench is M, right? Someone said make a move about her character as a younger version. Definitely. That would be interesting. See her journey and like what she did before, because I'm not sure if in like the obviously original sort of like writings and stories of James Bond before they were turned into films, whether those sort of things have been expanded upon. It's in the James Bond universe, and we have a wonderful female character. We certainly do. So I would be interested to see her backstory, because I don't even think, do they mention it in any of the films or the books? Or there you go. You can add to the world of James Bond by expanding on other pre-existing characters. But at the same time, I would be interested to see how they would handle it. I don't think they're going to handle it well. It's sort of like the way they handled Ghostbusters with an all-female cast. Got no reason to be against that. But why couldn't they have just been? I don't know. We won't. We're not getting to this discussion. All right then, simple. So, all right, fucking off now. Tarmate will chat about a chat. We certainly we'll chat about a chat. Yes, we certainly will. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Anyway, as always with my streams, we always seem to go off on tangents. Luckily, Goldrake went to bed, so we weren't talking about COVID or politics, which is always good. But yeah, genuinely, 2 great beers. Highly recommended if you see them. I think they are still about. You can definitely buy this still from Lincoln Green's website. And is it like a Fantastic Beers or something like that who are affiliated with them and they stock some of their beers? You can find their information through Lincoln Green's website as well. And of course, Neon Raptor and You One on Me. I reviewed a few Neon Raptor beers on the channel, so you're more than welcome to look at those. But more importantly, obviously go check out both breweries, but also there will be links down to Wraggy and Hopzine, and I've just splashed dregs of beer on my face. But chances are you're already subscribed to these 2. And if not, get that sorted. And hi again. Hi, Thomas. And I'm going to say bye, Thomas, because I'm going to head off. So I think Craig is streaming now. I'm not sure if Wraggy is streaming as well, doing his Neon Raptor review. But thank you all for joining. And yeah, and those watching the playback, hope you enjoyed it as well. And I shall see you all later. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Stay safe. And until we meet again. What the fuck was that?